Good morning, everybody. I think I'm making a video after a very long time, and today I'm not driving on the Western Express Highway. It's Monday morning and I'm actually heading to Nashik. So what is the purpose of today's video? I think it's monsoons now and there are a lot of potholes everywhere, at least in places around Mumbai and of course in Mumbai. So as we go, I'll give you a short tutorial as to how to drive on Indian highways during monsoons. It's not even 40 seconds into the video and we encounter our first set of potholes. We are on the Mumbai-Nashik highway. This is also the Mumbai-Agra Highway. And although I drive on this highway quite often, I haven't really driven on it after the monsoons have started. Usually I drive with my GPS on, but for the purpose of this video I'm keeping the GPS off. So it is almost as good as driving on an unknown highway for me. And the idea here will be that how do you drive on Indian highways without getting your car stuck or hit by a pothole. So I'll talk about some basic techniques. Thankfully it's not raining right now, and one of the key things that you need to do, which sounds very obvious, is maintaining a constant speed. Now right now I am going at a speed of 80 kilometers an hour. There you go, first set of potholes. Driving at a speed of around 80 kilometers an hour. And the reason why I will not go very fast is because, first of all, no matter how fast you drive on Indian highways, your travel time is going to remain more or less the same, because you will encounter traffic jams, toll booths. So no matter how fast you go, sooner or later you are going to encounter some kind of a traffic jam which is going to reduce your speed. So on any Indian highway, I think a speed of 80 to 100 kilometers an hour, 80 on a regular national highway and 100 maybe on an expressway kind of a road, is honestly more than enough. The other reason obviously why I'm going to drive at a constant 80 to 100 speed is that it is much easier to predict potholes, and once you spot one, it is much easier to also take some corrective action. So right now on an Indian highway, especially on a tar road, the easiest way to spot a pothole is observing the color of the road. So right now the color of the road is light gray in color. If you spot a pothole, the easiest way to confirm that it is a pothole is that you will see a change in color. So usually wherever you see uneven patches, the color will be slightly darker. Like, that's the thumb rule. The other thing that you can do is keep one car ahead of you as a pilot car. So in this case, I am keeping a Swift Desire ahead of me as a pilot. So any major, blockade that might come on the road in terms of, let's say, a pothole, this car is hopefully going to spot it first. So that really helps, especially during nights. I know a lot of people who like to drive fast and want to overtake each and every vehicle. Now it seems very fancy when you are overtaking a lot of vehicles, but as soon as you are the only vehicle on the highway and no vehicle ahead of you, things become a bit difficult. Like you can observe right now, I am using the Swift Desire ahead of me as a guide, and that guy is taking quite a few potholes, and it becomes very easy to note that there is some kind of undulation that is going to come. Now the trick also lies in maintaining a good amount of distance. Like, I am keeping around 50 meters distance between both the vehicles, because if you drive too close, it's obviously not recommended on a highway in any case. But if there is a pothole, then that leaves you with very little time to make corrections. picking up some speed here. See, there are going to be potholes. He has to brake. There you go. You can see the silver car, the accent making lane changes. So beyond the point, you have to be a bit defensive because you just can't keep on driving at an insane speed and then hoping that you'll be able to make corrections. Right? See. Now, if I had been driving too fast, I wouldn't have been able to avoid that pothole. The other important thing that one should definitely be aware of is the location of your wheels and tires of your vehicle. What I mean is that I think, and this comes by experience, you should be able to judge where the tire is exactly located, because sometimes there are two potholes next to each other and there is a very thin gap between those potholes. Now, if you know exactly where your tires are, you can actually take your vehicle just above that gap, like something like this. There you go. I could somehow manage to avoid that pothole. The thing with Indian highways and junctions is that most of the junctions pass through villages, and people unfortunately in most cases don't have any traffic sense. It becomes very difficult on junctions because you will be going at, let's say, 80-100 kilometers an hour, and suddenly you have a bike or a truck just crisscrossing the road without warning. So it's always a good idea to slightly slow down, maybe even honk once or twice, and definitely flash your headlamps before you cross any junction. So again, I'm trying to increase the distance. Yes, increase the distance so that there is sufficient time for me to react. Always use your turn indicators, slightly increasing speed. Again, I see a batch of potholes, just slowing down. Oh, avoided, yes, avoided this section again. So I think this highway is going to be a very good example, because you will have a lot of stretches which are super smooth, and suddenly you will be greeted by a bunch of potholes which will be so difficult to avoid that you have to be really alert. Just again, taking it slow. Now, obviously, in a country like ours where we drive on the left side of the road, overtaking from left is not advisable, but on our highways you can't live without it, because most trucks will continue to drive on the first lane, and you have to overtake them from the left. And there is good reason why a lot of truckers drive in the first lane, because on Indian highways, a lot of locals will drive very slowly in the last lane, especially the ones on two-wheelers, and it becomes really impractical for the truckers to change the entire lane for every overtaking maneuver they have to do. More potholes here. Okay, avoided again. So they prefer to drive in the first lane. The other thing that does happen is that because of the lack of service roads, on a highway like this, you'll see a lot of people driving on the wrong side of the road. So people are wary of that and they tend to drive in the first lane. So now the onus lies on us that we need to find a safe spot and overtake from the left. So right now, as you can see, I'm using this white Desire as my pilot or as my guide vehicle. But right now this gentleman is going at around 60-70 kilometers an hour, so I might overtake him. and hunt for a new pilot vehicle. Let's see. Far away you can see an eco trying to cross the road. He has crossed it quite safely. So like in all the videos that I have made so far, there is obviously nothing that is scripted, and you will not see some groundbreaking production quality. These are like genuine videos shot on our roads, and unlike other video channels, I'm not here to oh wow, a dog, and we need to slow down. Don't worry about that sound, it was just a bottle of water that fell from my seat. I don't know if the camera is capturing this, but I'm like constantly avoiding potholes wherever possible. What one needs to also be careful of is you need to watch all the three mirrors of your car: your left outer rear view mirror, your right mirror, as well as your internal center mirror, because when you're dodging potholes, there is a good chance that there might be a vehicle next to you, very close to you, and if you're suddenly changing lanes, then you might end up hitting somebody. So even though you are driving straight extremely calmly, it is always good to check your mirrors. Again, I'm increasing the gap for reasons mentioned earlier. May try to overtake him. There is a truck which is going really slow, so I have to slow down, come back into the first lane. And may try overtaking again. And like I mentioned, there are so many locals who will be riding really slowly. Last lane. I see a safer passage now. Maybe I'll overtake this vehicle as well and gently come onto the first lane. So there will be some patches that are not different in color, might be slightly darker green color, but those are the patches which are either repaired recently or are likely to become potholes in the future. So if you see a square patch which is of a different color, square or a rectangular patch, then this was probably a pothole-ridden spot once upon a time and has been repaired. On the other hand, if you see an uneven spot and it is in a slightly different color, let's say a darker grey shade, then more often than not it is going to be a spot which is going to get converted into a pothole very soon. Right. So now we are very close to the first toll plaza on this highway. So ever since I've started this video, I think we have managed to avoid all potholes. There was just one small section where I think my right front wheel did go through the pothole, but it was not a deep pothole, it was just uneven surface, that's it. So yes, we are at our first toll gate. So life is about making difficult choices. I don't have a FASTag. For those who don't know, FASTag is an RFID system by which you can electronically pay your toll. But in any case, on a highway, I think it is good to be in the very first or in the very last lane for a quick get away from the toll plaza. Now, in this case, the orange board you see is the FASTag lane. We'll go from the last lane, it seems to be empty. Toll, I think, is supposed to be 105 rupees, if I remember correctly. Yes, the divine hand has come out. we just need to show the old receipt, that's it. Just flashing headlights, maybe a jab on the horn, just to be sure, because it's a junction on a busy highway. Okay, change lanes again. This stretch seems to be largely unaffected as of now. For the last kilometer or so, didn't encounter any pothole as such. But let's see. Nope, no sign of any pothole. Now I have a Polo in front of me which is doing around 80-90 clicks, and I think that's a decent speed. So at least for some time I can use this car as my pilot car. Like I mentioned, this is being shot on a Monday morning, and thankfully there is very little truck traffic on this highway right now, because if the truck traffic is very dense, look at these guys trying to cross. Okay, so if the truck traffic is indeed very dense, it becomes quite difficult to manage on this road, because there will be so many bottlenecks that will get created, usually by one slow truck who's trying to overtake another. Potholes need to be avoided, although the road was still a bit rough. One of the major reasons why you need to avoid potholes is because if you end up going too fast through a pothole at speeds, let's say more than 80-90 kilometers an hour, and you don't brake at all, then you are in for a nasty surprise. You know what all could possibly go wrong. Right, there is a truck trying to cross the road. Need to flash my head lamps, honk a bit. Wow, and he has stopped, thankfully. So yes, so what I was trying to say was that if you hit a pothole at a speed more than 80 kilometers an hour, there are a lot of things that can go wrong. First and foremost, your tires may get a hit. In worst situations, your tires may end up bursting, or your tires may end up losing shape, which will lead to a wobbling effect, and the only solution for that is replacing the tire, right? In some cases, you may be let off with a simple puncture, and that of course is repairable if you spot the puncture very quickly. But in many cases, people end up damaging their tires. The second thing that may happen is, and which is even worse, is you may end up damaging your wheel, especially the ones who have alloy wheels on their cars. Alloy wheels may end up getting damaged, and for all practical purposes, if an alloy wheel is damaged, you have to replace the wheel, and the minimum price of any good alloy wheel will be at least 4,000 or 5,000 rupees, if not more, depending on which brand of vehicle you drive. The other thing that may happen is, and if you have a steel wheel, by the way, your wheel will end up bending. A bent steel wheel is easy to repair. It is repairable, but yes, you will end up damaging it in some way or the other. So if you have a steel wheel on your car, the regular wheels with wheel caps, then the damage is repairable in many cases. But if it's an alloy wheel and if there is damage, then you may end up replacing the alloy wheel. Talking about steel wheels, if you have a wheel cap fitted on your car, a plastic wheel cap, which covers the entire wheel, then in that case, if you hit a pothole, your wheel cap may end up popping out from the wheel and ending up somewhere on the highway. Simply because when your car hits a pothole, the steel wheel bends, and in the process, because the wheel has bent, the wheel cap, which is clamped onto the wheel, can't hold on to the wheel anymore, and the wheel cap comes out. So that is one thing that can definitely happen. What is the other? What are the other things that can go wrong? Okay, this guy seems to be stopping, by the way. So no pilot car. So yes, if you hit a pothole really bad, you may end up damaging your suspension components. Sometimes the underbody. You may end up damaging the bumpers. You may end up even in a very serious accident. So in terms of what can go wrong, the possibilities are endless. But this is not to scare you. This is just to give you an idea as to why you should be careful driving on the highways during monsoons. So a lot of times, monsoons, the most obvious safety hazard that comes to your mind is roads getting slippery. But on a day like this, when it is not really raining and the roads are relatively empty, still you can be in a very bad situation. So right now I'm cruising at around 100 kilometers an hour. Like I mentioned, I think the road here is quite good, so there are not many potholes to worry about. But you have to be extremely careful because this is not, I think those who are familiar with this part of India, people who are from Mumbai, this road is not Mumbai-Pune Expressway. You will end up seeing a lot of random pedestrians, people driving on the wrong side, and animals on the road. You'll see all kinds of stuff. Compared to that, the Mumbai-Pune Expressway is a much safer road. Unfortunately, most of the accidents that end up happening on the expressway are usually due to driver error, where people end up driving very fast. Just slowing down now. Rough spot, yes. So one needs to be really careful, and this is the season where people go out a lot for road trips, driving to local hill stations, because obviously the weather is beautiful. So I thought of sharing this, and I think if anybody who's out there, if you know somebody who's going to drive to a local hill station this weekend to enjoy the weather and has not driven much on the highway, I would definitely suggest that you do send the link to this video to your friend or to your relative. Just slowing down. There are some rumbler strips, yes, which are worn out, but still we need to slow down. There you go. Headlamp flash always works. Picked up some speed. Cruising at a steady 100 kilometers an hour. Just need to be careful on this crest. Honking just to be sure. Like now I can't see any discolored patch on the road, which gives me an indication that there are no potholes as such. Again, I'm trying to be in limit, driving at a steady 100 kilometers an hour. I know a lot of people will get tempted to drive a bit fast, but trust me, it doesn't make any difference. And after driving well over 1.5 lakh kilometers, I can say that with utmost confidence that even if I drive on this highway at a speed of 120 kilometers an hour, I'm not going to save more than 5-10 minutes on a 150 kilometer journey. And you have more rumbler strips. A lot of rumblers on this highway are unmarked. They are unpainted. Although there is a board usually at every junction to highlight that there is a speed breaker. But still, in the moment, in the heat of the moment, you may still forget to see that sign. So at every junction, I think it is recommended that you slow down a bit, because you never know, if not a pedestrian or some random guy crossing the road, you will come across a bunch of rumbler strips. And these strips, let me tell you, have been made from the point of view of slowing down trucks. So some of these rumbler strips are very, very big in size, are very tall, and if you drive very fast, you and your passengers are going to get a big jerk, and it is going to be quite unnerving. So it is highly recommended that one drives carefully. Now if you see this stretch of the road, it is quite obvious that it has rained here some time back, and you will see pools of water forming at a lot of places. Now in that case, what is recommended is that whenever you see a pool of water, just slow down. Don't drive too fast, because if you drive too fast in a pool of water, and a pool of water might be just a thin film of water that exists on the road, it can lead to what is known as aquaplaning. What happens in aquaplaning is that your vehicle starts floating on the water, quite literally. When I say floating, the tires lose contact for maybe a millisecond or so, and that is sufficient enough for your vehicle to lose grip and go spinning out of control wide. That's why it is recommended to slow down whenever you see a pool of water. If your car has ABS, that is definitely a big boon. On surfaces and in conditions like this, you will definitely appreciate the need of an ABS. Now there's a change in the color of the surface. I'm just going to slow down. The road is a bit rough. Yes, I could have gone faster, but it's better being safe than sorry. Now I'm going to be greeted by a lot of muck splashing on my car because of the wet road surface, and there are some potholes here as I speak. Just being careful again. Slowing down again. I think we'll sign off in maybe a couple of minutes. I'm just going to take a break here, and if I do find something interesting, I will surely record another video for you. Like I said, just taking things slowly. Again, we are reaching a very busy intersection. No point in driving too fast on this section of the road. There you go. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. So now this trucker is occupying both lanes. So from which lane should we overtake? Maybe from the left. Let's see. But there is a bike. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so I'm just taking a break. I have reached a food stop known as Food Hub. Just going to take a break here, maybe have a burger or something for 15 minutes, and then move on to the next part of my journey. So thanks a lot for watching this video. I hope this helped, and any queries that you have, please put it in the comment section below. Would be glad to reply to any questions that you have. And of course, if you like what I share, then please subscribe my channel and do like and share all my videos. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.